Hello once again.
Hello.
We have decided that we're going to follow up on the triple whammy off yesterday. Today. I say yesterday. We are going to watch the video. We're going to watch the replay from the other day when I figure out exactly which one that is. Tomb of the Spider Queen.
Tomb was one, I think.
We haven't played a Tomb since, so... There it is, 171. Right. We're going to watch this through because it was a really fucking good game.
It really was.
Right, stop.
I have to find which one the other one was as well. Because they were both fantastic games.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah, you were still playing Artanis at the time.
Yeah, I was, yeah. That's why I was... This is when I was surprised at how well it was going for us, despite having not played Artanis very much.
Yeah.
Which it really did go really well. This is... It's also funny, a funny coincidence that this is my favourite map as well.
First game of Zool on your favourite map. And you're playing a character that you never actually played in a proper quick game match before, are you?
I might have played one or two prior to that. Or, well, one prior to that, I think.
No.
They all had just
Right.
played... Oops. All had just played...
I'm at this side. There we go.
It's just...
I kind of forgot that they hadn't flippy-flopped everything again.
It was on the normal side for me for once.
Yeah. This was the game that I tried to upload. This is the one we recorded. But what happened was, I think I mentioned before, that I fucked everything up. I set OBS, so it was looking at the video Original Sin, because I previously recorded some of that for another channel, and I was sitting there like, well, I just kind of forgot that it wouldn't reset settings or look at the current viewed window, and yeah, thanks to forgetting that, I ended up recording a blank screen with audio from Heroes of Storm in the background.
Great audio as well. Also, just to talk about level 1 talents here, I got 100% bonus damage to non-heroes on Twin Blades, which is excellent for pushing, which worked out really well actually.
Yeah,
I think it only worked out
needed.
because we had another tank. We had a Johanna there, so I didn't necessarily have to go tank because she was going regeneration at level 1, which is really good. And you got the damage on bone armor, which is brilliant.
Yeah.
Which,
I mean, 15% of their health and armor.
which is good for their Artanis and their Asmodan, I guess.
Yeah. I also thought that at the time I was thinking that there wasn't really any need for me to really get anything else. I don't think there's any they didn't really have any big time single AA heroes aside from Artanis and Zool. But of course I figured out later on that it's probably still worth taking shade because Zool and Artanis can do a lot of damage later on. And you probably need to avoid
At the time I was also talking about how it was extremely difficult to lane against him because he has much more creep killing power than I have. So
yeah.
Mainly because of his cursed strikes, because it just annihilates minions.
Yeah, and not to mention the fact that every minion he kills or is killed near him adds to his lane, kind of increases his lane pressure by a ton.
It makes it scary because usually you're going for the whole I shouldn't take any unnecessary damage deal, so you're not wanting to go in on minions very much, but then it just gives him a whole lot more lane pressure, doesn't it? There's Johanna coming in for a gank for me. You're just coming in on
I remember this Malfurion was very commanding. It was just pinging to retreat and stuff constantly, and I mean I appreciate it when people sort of do that. At the same time, it does get kind of annoying when you know you're not going to die anytime soon, and they're like, "Get back, get back!"
It also serves as a nice, in terms of the whole just appreciating it serves as a nice like a nice wake up call sometimes when you're like, I can stay in for 2 seconds longer, even though you've got like 2 HP and the fountain and your sippy cup is down. But then someone's like mashing back or like retreat or something. Like here, like I stayed in far too long on my lane.
Yeah, I kind of missed you dying there. I was focusing somewhere else. But yeah, before, like, when I was chasing Asmodan, what I showed on my screen, that kind of shows, like, here as well, it kind of serves as a good indicator of exactly how strong pusher Zul really is. He adds your lane presence to his lane presence, and then proceeds to just wipe the rest of your lane out. Because your creeps are no longer even hitting their thing. Also, that bone armor can really help you in a pinch, as shown right there.
It is really scary, the fact that like any lane pressure any lane minions you have are like, it's the whole all your minions are now belong to us.
Pretty much.
Like, god damn it.
Yeah, there's Malfurion pinging when I'm very clearly running away from the enemy, not towards them.
Like, laning against Zul in a nutshell, all I want for Christmas is a lane minion.
All I want for Christmas is keep my lane minions. No, please. I'm watching you now. It also shows quite that Zul is quite a duelist if you're not very certain heroes that he can't duel against. At this point, I honestly think somebody else probably should have took your lane, or somebody should have joined you up there.
I was holding me on. Like, I died earlier on just because I was staying in too long with Johanna. They really should have started backing out.
Yeah, there's an awful lot of red on the map at the moment. Maybe our team should try and sort that out. Alright, start. No. I was going to say a team fight appears to be starting, but it doesn't. Or at least it doesn't bot. Once again, kind of a case that I think if we had like followed Mouth there and went back, we probably wouldn't have got anywhere near as like decent amount of kills as we did.
Just showing off some strengths and weaknesses of Zul right there in that team fight as well. Just shows like the strength was there, that you were in the middle of the three of them and just still quite healthy as well.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like some weaknesses in that there are obvious. You're not exactly the best chaser or anything. Like, you just happily walked away, for example, and Rhaegar just healed her. Yeah. And there was nothing you could do. You just gotta watch her walk away and just hope that later on she either comes back in or you can get to her somehow. They had a lot of lane pressure. I'm just noticing mid lane as well is that they're more focusing defending against that mid one when they've got teammates on bot. They've got 3 members of the team on bot lane, which is a much bigger threat. See here,
on top as well, like
just mostly standing around, like move, go somewhere, you know. Like
yeah.
The moment that thing was there, I can't even remember its name right now. The moment the thing was that she should be mounting up and just moving away because there's much bigger threats on other lanes. Like,
yeah, as soon as they killed,
just stand attacking minions.
Like, as soon as they killed that spider, they should have been moving bot to help out with that. Because you were struggling on top, but at the same time you did somewhat have that.
Again, there was a bigger threat elsewhere. Like, I was able to at least kill the minions that he had going on there, and then it's once the threats are taken care of, you can just mount up and rotate.
Yeah.
It's... You can also see that I'm not the best. That I'm a new Artanis player, but I'm still not doing very badly. I think it was mostly due to the AI games we played, getting at least a tiny bit of practice in. I get so scared when I'm on maps like this and I've got like 24 gems to hand in. I'm like, you know.
I don't know what I did there.
And then I'll go straight up to 36 gems. Like, why?
Yeah. I'm kind of surprised that on Malf this game, like, he went, like, damage, seemingly. Like, he took
really
damage.
nicely, actually.
Yeah. He's got, like, a mix of, like, damage and healing. Which is interesting for, like, just trying out... he just seems to be trying out this hybrid build. And it worked well for him, but it's just surprising, because most, like, in this situation where the Abalili who took the healing ult, we probably could have used Tranquility.
And my ultimate focus there, I used it on Altanis, but in retrospect, I probably shouldn't have. But then, when I look back on it, even still, it's like, there's no real better target to use that on. I could have used it on Lily, for example, but then she's just gonna back off and heal through it anyways.
Yeah, and there's the power of Poison Nova going into play.
Very, very nice stuns from what's her name? Tyrande there.
Tyrande, yeah.
I mean,
As you with your 43 coins.
I get so scared, man. I'm like, why? Why is this a thing?
I've just temporarily moved up the top so we can have a look at that small
Rhaegar
engagement.
holding his own against Johanna and Malfurion on top lane, yeah.
Yeah, that's a bad position to be like trying to back in Mouth, but it worked.
Thug life Malfurion, especially when we had no tier 1 tower there, tier 1 fort, sorry.
Yeah. And there's the pings again. Like,
I can understand in that case because we were really far pushed up, and their entire team was up. So in that case, it's like you really want your team to back off. But
you see, the thing at the same time is that
most of the time one ping is enough.
Yeah, and at the same time as that, like, we knew where most of their team was. Like, we saw Tannis run that way. They've got 3 people on mid. The only person who could come down.
I think that was mostly due to the fact that we had a lot of push going on. So we had a lot of minions really far up and a lot of heroes really far up. So we had a lot of vision on the map close to their tier 1s.
Yep.
But snipes from Tyrande there.
I was at that point. I was going to go and try and chase, but it's just not
Tannis pushing bot lane, getting the split push on, and probably gonna rotate and gank from behind here, or not. You know, that's.
Oh. I mean, they could just hand in. They didn't even hand in. They were just sort of lingering, which is very.
Well,
strange.
they couldn't have handed in because it disappears. You can't hand in when.
Oh yeah, true. I just found it weird that they were just lingering around.
I'm trying to focus the in-your-face champions here. Like, he's an in-your-face champion as well, Zul, but I was getting more scared by Artanis, weirdly. So I'm trying to focus him with me ultimate, trying to scare him off some. I also didn't want the tank being all in my face that much, which is why I'm trying to focus him with the ultimate so much, because I want to scare him off. So then we've got the squishies in my face instead, but obviously it never worked.
In that situation, I was just trying to trap someone. However, I did successfully force Rhaegar to pull his ult on Artanis, which isn't going to help, really. Like, admittedly, they should be the ones backing here, because they can't... Which they are. I mean, we're getting a camp.
I got blade dash range and speed at level 4, which feels amazing. I mean, the range makes it feel a bit scary because you're in their face for longer, but the speed makes up for that. Every time blade dash hits an enemy hero, it reduces shield overload's cooldown. Building for shield overload is beautiful. It's actually, is that not what most Artanises do now? Just build for shield overload.
I think...
Build for its reduced cooldown. And then I went, shield overload activates, you take 50% less damage from abilities, which is good for Zul and Asmodan mostly.
I almost like instinctively pressed control there when it popped up on the screen.
Oh.
He was like, you level up, and I'm like, well,
Trapper just missing our stun just before there. But that ultimate does a lot of damage.
it does.
Your abilities, your talents, sorry. Level 4 taking Bone Prison, spawns 2 Skeleton Warriors. That fixate on the enemy for 15 seconds. At level 4, level 7, raising a Skeleton Warrior heals you for 124, which gives a lot of sustainability. That was actually in Sylvanas. In Sinvicta's top lane sustain video he did, which is really good. Which is like, it's good for pushing, but in terms of team fights, I think the Curse Strikes healing would be better. Would be better instead. Is that on that talent list? That's on that tree, isn't it? The Curse Strikes.
Yeah, it's on the same one as the Skeleton's summon heals.
And then you took Poison Nova at Beam, obviously. At 13, you took when Skeleton Warriors die, they explode for 122 damage in a small area and deals 100% increased damage to non-heroic enemies. And then you took the six skeletons versus 4, and the damage increased by 100% at 16. Johanna went a tank build. So also built for the reduced cooldown of Iron Skin, which is really good. Which gives it a lot of sustainability. And she went for the Blessed Shield, which I think, in my opinion, is a better stun than the Skyfall.
I've managed to successfully somehow black out the enemy team. I can't see through the fog of war anymore. I am not familiar with the replay system. No.
I just haven't been messing with anything. I'm just looking.
All I was doing is double clicking people, but I guess that might actually.
Malfurion going for his standard healing build, which is working out beautifully. But did he get it?
Well, we'll keep it like this.
Oh, he went for damage on his ultimate there, our Malfurion. I didn't even notice when we were playing. Just missing the kill on.
Poison lingered through Rhaegar's ult.
Did it?
Yeah.
Learn something new every day. I should really watch replays like this more often, but you know, I bother half the time. Our Tyrande was beautiful at landing stuns. Really landing our clutch stuns when we needed them.
Yeah. So we're backing off now because those two spiders are getting big lanes on either side.
It would have been nice for us to get some push, but we had no lane pressure whatsoever, and they had lots of lane pressure.
Yeah, they had basically taken the entire, like, all lanes except for mid, because we were pushed up at the time. We destroyed that spider instantly. The rest of the lanes got pushed up by the spiders. Mechanics of the map.
Going for my hand in India. I think I managed to hand in, I think. Oh no, Johanna managed to hand in. That's right. So I am... yeah. It's huge team fight on
Unfortunate.
After we started pushing them back at this point.
And then Zul ran off and got killed by poison, which should be happening anytime soon. I can't... I got a Lily kill from somewhere. Somebody over here. Oh, I guess Zul didn't die then.
Johanna here was wanting to go for boss,
Oh,
I think, but boss disappears when you hand in, when you get the objective hand in.
Indeed.
Which is a damn shame. Which is why a lot of people, which is why when we used to play with some friends, they used to shout, just attack boss, and then get someone else to hand in at the same time.
Yeah, if you're attacking the boss, it lingers despite the fact that the spiders or whatever else have spawned.
Well, that's how it
So
used to
you
work.
can
I don't know
still
whether it
capture
still works like that, but that's definitely how it used to work.
I'm fairly sure it still works the same.
Probably, yeah.
I don't think they've done anything to that, but, you know. It looks like the spider's going to shoot that tower.
It's weird to see that happening It's weird to see that, to see the spiders focus. Like, how they get distracted by other things. Like, they've got a core right there, but instead they'll shoot the tower.
And there's the enemies getting a one-up on us. And I'm going to die here because I can't see much survive. Nope. I'm not fearing spamming retreat despite the fact that everyone knows that we have to retreat.
Retreat is not weakness.
Like, I believe I made the point back in the other video that currently we have push on all sides anyway. So
it would have been nice, again, to get more push going on to get those other tier 2s, but the weird. I'm
currently lingering.
I think that was. I'm just noticing pings there. I think that might have been red team pushing, like pinging for boss. Boss would have been really nice for them right now because we were all dead, but obviously they were trying to get the hand in. I mean, either way, it's a lot of lane pressure, but boss is typically seen as more threatening, weirdly, and it pulls one entire team to one lane versus 3 separate lanes. So then you can get a split push going on. That would have been really nice for them, but obviously we weren't dead for long enough at that point. We were nearly all rezzed anyway. I think we would have noticed anyways, even if they did go for boss. I think they still would have gotten it quite happily. But
yeah, so, like I say, I can't on my screen, like the one's recording, I can't actually see it because somehow I've managed to block out the fog of war aside from what's on our side. Like I can only see what our team can see.
Weird.
I don't know how I've done it. I didn't even know I was really messing with stuff. I was just clicking people's portraits. But then when I try clicking again, it doesn't reveal anything.
Can you click on an enemy team portrait?
Yeah, but it doesn't do anything. It just it snaps to them even if they're in the fog of war.
Weird.
Yeah, and this will be the end of the match.
I've just clicked on. You can see me here just focusing the core, which is really important in this case, despite the enemy team surrounding with from all sides. Well, not surrounding, but starting to push back quite nicely because all were on very low health, except for me, I'm on quite decent health. But I'm trying to focus the core because that was a big objective right now. Even if I were to die, it would still be on 42% versus on 90%.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So
getting some nice.
Oh my god!
That was an important. That was a really, really good mechanic. Just really great mechanics right at the end there by you. Just getting the few lucky kills.
I was at next to no health walking into that, and I walked away with more health than I started with. That was insane. Like, we were actually yelling about that at the end of it. That's how good that was.
Yeah, at this point we were screaming about the fact that we won because I was like, I didn't get focused at all. Also, I missed the kill I made on Lily because their enemy Lily, right at the very end of the game there, was coming up and trying to hit us. She was just basing attackers when I was hitting the fort, but then I just turned around and killed her. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's what I describe it as. Just turned around and killed her.
What I think that Zul may have made a mistake in his talenting. Because I can't actually press, for some reason Tab no longer lets you view talents at the end of the game. Don't know why they do that. But looking at the top of the screen, he's went for the last 3 talents as Scythe. I kind of disagree with that because our 2 healers were Mouth and Tyrande. And, I mean, the Capra Fire is better if they have, massive burst heal. Not Capra Fire, what is it called?
Oh.
Well, the Scythe... The level 20 Scythe ability is that any healing that is incoming on a target is lowered by 75%.
Mortal wounds.
I think that's it, yeah. So he'll hit with a Scythe, we'll be taking less healing, but in this situation, Malf is really the only one there who's doing any significant healing, so he has to make sure he hits the target who's going to get healed with the Scythe. Whereas if he was taking it against someone who's, say, using Tranquility, then it'd probably be a bit more meaningful because that's a lot lower.
In this case, because Malfurion was the only healer, the only real like healer we had that was a threat, though that was a threat to them in terms of winning the game or anything, it was probably better to go for damage. Simply more damage build for team fighting and build or team single target if that's what he wants. But it probably would have been better to go for like AoE like AoE damage and team fighting. With like he did go for Poison Nova, didn't he?
He took he took mages.
Oh,
I took Poison Nova,
but I think that would have helped them take care of Malfurion and getting rid of our main healing faster in a team fight. And I certainly didn't go for any. I certainly didn't go for any big tank build. Like I went for shield overload, but that's easily counterable with enough damage. Especially in Zul's case, which he has enough damage on his own. Especially if you build for that. I mean, case in point on stat screen, you have 112,000 euro damage. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like if you build for damage, you would have easily countered my shield overload, and that would have taken care of me. The only big threat in terms of tanking would have been Johanna for our team, which weirdly didn't go for the level 20. Oh no, yeah, she did. I'm just looking at it. I know she.
I want to see if I can move it back slightly.
So she did go for the air.
I'm just saying that playing with the Seeking in this game kind of tends to break replays, so this is at great risk, but if I can pull this off... Pause. Wow, that ended the game.
That didn't work whatsoever.
I don't know, why did they disable talents after the replay is over? That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that it doesn't help that it can't seek whatsoever. Seeking has been completely removed, let's face it. Like, not having a seeking function would be better than that. It also, like, weirdly desyncs both parties when you seek.
That's weird. Yeah, that's really weird. Right, so I've managed to put it in a position where we can see the talents. Hurrah!
Ah, there you go. That's better.
Yeah,
that was a supremely great risk, but...
Yeah, like, it's been in the past where I've tried to seek this forward in, like, other replays we've tried to watch, and the game has, like, outright disconnected me from the game, from this, and completely balked my seeking. Like, I will...
Not only does it balk seeking, but it disconnect you, but it desyncs from the other person that's in your party when you're watching the replay. Like, you were completely disconnected from me, even though we're in the same replay, watching the same replay. You were completely disconnected from me, and that you were on, like... I don't even know what you were on. I was at the end of the replay, and you were, like, 50 minutes back, and I'm like, how is this?
Right. What was happening was that when it disconnects me, it sets it so the seek bar is sitting on 5 minutes or something, or wherever I was before I started seeking. But the actual replay that's playing in front of me is caught up. So I'm just sitting there like, well, it's displaying 5 minutes, but I am currently watching at like 20. What's going on?
And then from my perspective, the replay, it was either not playing at all or was playing at a completely different point to yours. I was at a completely different time as well. Like, your seeking wasn't affecting my seeking. Like, it started off affecting my seeking, but then like you desynced from me and it stopped affecting my timeline. Yeah. So it was like, alright then. And I couldn't affect seeking whatsoever. Like, I can't affect it whatsoever. So I couldn't get to a point that you were at because we were wanting to reverse it at the time and watch like a weird replay. And watch a very specific point in a replay, I should say.
Yeah. in terms of talents, I can kind of see what Zul was going for. He got the two, the Skeleton Warriors give you mana and Skeleton Warriors give you health, and then started building into Scythe after that. I disagree with this. Mainly because on the early there is a talent to increase the Scythe's range, and then you could probably get, say, instead of the Skeletons heal you, you could instead get the team, like, hitting with W hits you heals
Per strikes
per
heal.
per hero hit.
That would be better for. Does that not deal percentage damage as well on first strike?
No.
Or is that just percentage healing?
It's just healing per hero hit. I think it's flat as well, so plus per level, obviously.
Is there not a percentage damage you can get on that though? I'm just thinking of the wrong talent level, aren't I?
Yeah, you're thinking of the wrong talent level. There is a percentage damage you can get. You can get a 2% damage per strike with it.
Oh, that's right, because it heals you for something like 100. When you pick the talent, it's something like 145 health. It heals you for per enemy hero hit, which per enemy hero hit. So let's say multiple enemy heroes hit in that one swing, and you're going to heal for a lot of health. In terms of team fighting, that's really, really excellent sustain. I mean, you think about the skeleton. I can see why people get the skeleton. Why people like the skeletal warrior heal, simply because it's a passive heal. It doesn't require you to do anything.
Yeah, I mean, you walk in the lane, you kill a bunch of things.
Then it's not a good. It's not a good like a team fight heal because like team fight sustain because you're not because there's no guarantee that the team fight is going to be on a lane with minions.
Yeah, it's a purely lane sustenance. It's like if you're trying to push, that's the one you'd get, because if all you cared about was pushing, you're going to be killing a lot of minions. But obviously, if you're trying to play seriously,
passive regeneration.
Yeah, and if what you're trying to do is take part in every team fight you can, along with pushing lanes, then it may also be a decent pick. But otherwise, if you're just going for team fight-esque thing, or you're going for like single target, then it might just be a better one.
And in that case, increases your sustenance in team this fight. Game, unlike other games, like some games do hinder on like pushing, but this game was mainly team fights. Team fights was where it was at. Team fights was where the game was turning around. If they got that one good team fight, that would have been it. But you know, it's just.
And for those who think that this game couldn't have, there was no way in hell they could have came back. It's like they had like one tier 1 dead on bot. If they had wiped us, got one, like handed in enough for one more spiders, which they were getting towards, they could have pushed the entirety of bot lane to our core, and then that could have possibly have been GG.
So I've made this point before, and I'll make it again because it is legitimately true. In that level 20 objectives, objectives like the spiders or a boss, for example, or something like Dragon Knight, level 20, if your team's pushing with it, it's unstoppable. That's an unstoppable push right there. You're going to at least push, especially on bot lane or top lane's the same deal, in that if your team's pushing with it, top lane may be a little bit easier simply because there's less towers. Still, I digress. If your team's pushing with it, you're gonna at least push that tier 2 and push like half the fort's health down. If they team wiped us, which they could have done if they just played it right, they could have won the game. We wouldn't have been back before they pushed all the way to our core and killed it. Like even if we were back in time, we couldn't have stopped them. Really, the only just where it's at, man.
If they had kept the Lily Zul and Asmo alive, and then had them hand in, that would have took some time off the clock. However, the only people we would have had back would have been Mouth and Tyrande, and they would have been pushing up with spiders. Now, spiders are a bit different to other kind of like maps. They aren't quite as strong as, say, a single Punisher or a single Immortal, but the sheer amount of them is generally what kind of wins out.
It's not that they're strong. It's not that they're like strong fighters or they do much damage. They get, unlike other objectives, like for example, Dragon Knight and Garden Terror gives you team fight potential, gives you pushing potential. Whereas I think there's like different types of objectives that give you different concepts, as it were. For example, Dragon Knight gives you team fight and push. Garden Terror is the same; it gives you push and team fight. Whereas spiders give you lane pressure, versus it doesn't give you necessarily push. It does give you push, but that's not the main thing. It gives you, it's meant for lane pressure. Like, it's scary saying three hulking spiders attack all three of your lanes at once. If you leave it alone, it can push a lot.
Yeah, they're absolutely like big targets. Like if the enemy is doing like a split pushing tactic, then you want to deal with the what. Like, I mean, if anyone is on the lane that has like a single spider and none of the enemy teammates, he wants to hurry up and kill that as fast as possible, then rush off to get to help handle the other pressure. It's like what we were talking about earlier.
It's very easy as well once you have. It's becoming a Heroes of the Storm podcast. It's very easy as well when you get the spider objectives or something along those lines, or even mercenaries. In some cases, mercenaries are a lot better pushing potential. They don't give you lane. They don't give you so much lane pressure as the spiders do. Them more so push, because they're essentially, especially if you have heroes like Sylvanas, like, just as easy to kill as an average minion. But in that case, when you have something like that on a lane that gives pressure or push potential or whatever, it's very easy to cause the enemy team to do misplays. Like when a hero, for example, like Tyrande, for example, earlier in the game, it might have been a different. Was it in this game where they were defending mid with Johanna, and then instead of like immediately going off lane, just sitting there attacking minions, it's very easy to cause misplays like that. Because you're just concerned, like, I don't want this lane to push out. I don't want to take any more damage than it did. I don't want them to get this fort or whatever. So he's down there attacking minions, even when it's not necessary. You know, it can lead to some very easy advantages. And just looking at the end of the game here, where it's paused, I don't know whether you're looking at the same point, but when Asmodan was laser beaming you in the face, and there's Lily and Zul in my faces. Noting they had less health than us. I'm a tank, Johanna's a tank, but all they had to do was kill you for our biggest pressure in team fights dead. Like, sure, we had two big hulking melee heroes, melee tanks there, but you were our biggest pressure in terms of damage. If you had died, that would have given them a big advantage in team fights in terms of sheer damage. Like, Asmodan is very scary damage, and so is Zul. If they had done that, they would have had the advantage in the team fight, and if they had won, that would have been a very easy. That would have given them an easy time just getting an objective and pushing out. It's easy to say that, but of course, it's actually doing it.
Yeah, I mean, their low health would have meant that they would have to simmer in their fountain a little bit, and that would have gave us some time to to get back. But yeah, they would have to get the gems and enough gems to pull on the spiders, and then they would have to push the thing. That would take a little while at the very least. So I think that even if they did come back after that, after winning that, if they had won that, they would have still. There's still a potential of them losing the game, purely because the fact that we would have come back, and then we would dealt with the spiders, and then we would have started pushing up again. That would have been a much longer game, though. And not to mention that when all the keeps are dead, like especially tier 2 keeps, we start getting catapults, which essentially dominate the lane.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's the catapults, like, I mean, everything else is just cannon fodder for the cannons. For the catapults, sorry. So, it's kind of difficult to kind of see. I think that this could have ended the same way if we had lost this fight here, but the fact that we won the fight ended up winning us the game.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just noting that comeback mechanics are a thing.
It's big.
Especially...
it's a big mentality that people get into when they play MOBAs. Is the whole we lost one team fight, or we got a bad matchup, or we lost one minion in some cases, therefore we lose the game. But
yeah.
I think that mentality of leagues for example, in League where it's like surrender at 20 or whatever, the whole we've lost anyway, so let's just let them win mechanic I think it just stems from people wanting to get into the next game to see if the next game will be any better, instead of trying to come back in that one game, especially in quick match, where it's like, well,
yeah,
it doesn't really matter anyway. So even if we did win or lose, even if we do surrender, it doesn't matter. So let's just try and get into the next game to see if it ends any better. But it's, you know, I think it's a good mentality to get into, especially for ranked games when you want to in the like the mentality of pushing back, coming back is possible. It's just very, very difficult in some cases. Like this, for them, for Red Team in this case, was a difficult comeback, but entirely possible.
Yeah, it's kind of tough to get everyone in like a decent position, especially if people are trying to be negative and crush their own morale effectively. Because in some cases, most people are in good spirits up until the point at which someone starts being completely negative or completely ass at, which again is very, very easy to kind of fall into. But yeah, like wins on these kind of things are very, very real. I don't know where I'm going because I just got distracted.
Well, there it is. I think we should leave that there.
I think we should end on watching that last team fight just one more time. Because, I mean, I managed to somehow seek to this really weird position, so, I mean, may as well make the most of it.
What, 9... Oh, where are you at? 21-33?
21-33.
Good. I didn't want to realise that we were suddenly desynced.
It's been good this time, I swear. Anyway, I think we will leave it at this.
There you can see Lily attacking me. Which she had the right idea, like I'm attacking the core unlike everybody else. It was actually going well for them. They killed one of our tanks, but yeah.
Yeah, they killed Johanna, which was by far our biggest tank, but then all died to me, and you killed Lily, and that was just it.
I think because I think that happened because they focused Johanna so hard, which sure she was a big target, but not to that degree of focus that they had towards her. It's just just allowed you to easily just stand there and chip them down.
And let's face it, if you're going to go after anyone, don't focus the tank. Mobile 101 right here.
I like Lily's idea of he's attacking the core. He does a lot of damage to core, but it just didn't work out. I don't think it would have worked out I don't think Lily could have affected the outcome either way because she does so little damage.
I feel as though if Lily had stayed back, they had focused me down, and then Johanna fell, I don't know if you would have been able to take the core in that time. Because you were focusing the core the entire time, and then you kind of split off to kill Lily, and then you went back to the core again, which won us the game. But if it was just you hitting the core the entire time, if I had died like immediately, and then Johanna fell, I don't know if you would have been able to take it before they turned to you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you know their XP by the end of the game, they were just about to hit 21, which would have meant that they were on par with us if they had killed all three of us. Heck, if they had killed two of us, they would have been on 21.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it was very real that they may have been able to come back, but, I mean, the catapults were there as well, and everything was kind of piling up on them. It's also very real that even if they had killed all of us, they might have still lost by like a stray ball hitting the core.
I think...
In any case...
Nah, just
go on, I was just going to...
Just leave it there.
Alright. That is the conclusion. That was my first game as Zool.
And my first game in a quick match is Artanis.
And my first game seeing Zool in action, properly outside of try mode.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah. So, if you've watched this far, Well, yes, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye. Bye.